Before this thing, I was Eric G. Like my guys know me as Eric G, the guy who writes C++, IoT, and Internet of Things, the GDG, the Google developer guy. That's basically what I was doing pre-COVID until I stumbled on crypto along the journey when I was doing that and Flutter, and then got scammed in crypto, like on a P2P platform. Someone went away with my money, and I was like, are you whining me? Harry G, I mean, in my school, when people speak, they'll be like, just go and meet James and Heritage for anything technical or like software related, because I studied computer science. So on getting to hear that someone went away with my crypto online was like unimaginable for me. I was like, I can't even tell people because they always feel like I can't get scammed online.
Hello, Heritage.
Hi, Halima. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too. Heritage, you are the CEO of Haute, co-founder of Neona Synergy, and you've worked on everything from Bitcoin education to mining infrastructure across Africa. But before all this, when you first started building, did you see yourself as solving a problem for Africa or creating something that could stand globally?
Actually, I mean, my intention is just being an entrepreneur who solves problem and then offer solutions. I wasn't just generic to Africa and all, but then I'm someone who is born and bred in Africa, and then I ended up realizing that most of the solutions I'm creating or problems I'm wired to solve are African centric problems. So to your question, I won't say initially I had the intentions of solving problems for only Africa continent as a whole, but then it's just more like you being in a particular region, and then the kind of issues you are facing are generic to that region, and then you start seeing yourself offering solutions to problem based on your perspective about a particular area.
Yeah, true. Which brings me to my next question. You are a Bitcoin consultant, an educator.
Yeah. I mean, when you were like even saying the CEO of DGO CEO, I mean, it looks like multiple accolades and multiple things doing together. So yeah, I'm also still a consultant. I mean, even a what's it called? A contributing writer for Bitcoin magazine. I just do a lot of stuff that revolves around Bitcoin and the African ecosystem.
Interesting. So you being a Bitcoin consultant, an educator, a product lead, and also a writer, like you just mentioned, beyond all those titles, your work is really about helping people in Africa see Bitcoin as a practical tool for everyday use. Before all these roles, who are you? What experiences shaped the mindset that drives you today?
Before this thing, I was Eric G. Like my guys know me as Eric G, the guy who writes C++, IoT, and Internet of Things, the GDG, the Google developer guy in school and all of that. I think my curiosity about finance in general, my curiosity about updating things and then moving from one stage to the other actually led me to like doing all those things you mentioned. So to your question and giving like a detailed overview to our audience and all of that. So I've actually been a guy who transitioned from, let's say, just coming to like write multiple articles every blessed day. My father is a school administrator, and he's an English professional as well, like up to doctorate level and all of that. So every week, my father will give me a book and say, this higher education book, that's what we call it, even right from my secondary school days, tell you that you need to write 10 articles per week. And then once he's leaving, you are making sure you are bringing that book with list of articles that he has given you for the week to like write on. So writing articles or like writing publications now became part and parcel of me. I don't know it's something that would end up being important in my sojourn probably later. So I think that was one. Then entering uni to like meet friends who are like more tech inclined as well. We started forming the Google developers group for my school then, Joseph Ayo Babalola University, and then doing a lot of stuff around DSC with the FUTA guys, that's Federal University of Technology Akure. Then joining, what was it called? 115 Garage, which is now later Future Academy Africa. Special regards to the likes of Keaton David. So in the company, I was basically like the only IoT Internet of Things engineer who works on Arduino board using C and C++ then. But most of my friends in the company were like working on mobile related stuff and then let's say web development, front end and back end. Then so I look like the only unique one. This is me giving you a rundown of who Heritage was before Bitcoin. And getting to keep doing this, I think I also met another friend in that company who is like a close person to me, was telling me about AI far back as 2017, 2018. But I felt I was just doing linear regression, sigmoid functions, and a couple of technical stuff then. It wasn't really incentive driven or anything, but it was like knowledge driven. Then I met this very, very close friend in the company, the person who ended up being a co-founder at DigiHote at some point, Mashi Binu Benjamin. He introduced me to Dart and Flutter and said, Heritage, you just need to leave C++. Let's write Dart and Flutter in 2018. This is like the latest, I think Flutter. Flutter was the latest framework from Google then. So let's just use that programming language. And then with that, it's cross-platform. You won't need to start going back with all this Android Studio and all of this. Then you are good. I was now like, okay, let me just do something that would be incentive driven because the IoT market in Nigeria then is not as large as the mobile market and then the web development market. So that's basically what I was doing pre-COVID until I stumbled on crypto along the journey when I was doing that and Flutter and then got scammed in crypto, like on a P2P platform. Someone went away with my money and I was like, are you whining me? Harry G, I mean, in my school, when people speak, they'll be like, just go and meet James and Heritage for anything technical or like software related because I studied computer science. So on getting to hear that someone went away with my crypto online was like unimaginable for me. I was like, I can't even tell people because they always feel like I can't get scammed online. So I was not like, let me go and check what's behind this technology and all of that. Trying to check, I saw a lot of resources online. And I think I met some guys who were just discussing about Bitcoin, crypto consistently every day. I'm like, okay, once I'm reading these resources, I'm going to keep listening to these guys to get more information. Those guys then were like the OGs now. I mean, it was Lama Wilson, Isaiah Jackson, the likes of I think these guys from Corey Clifton from Swan, like always on Clubhouse. So I'm just always listening for like multiple months and doing my resources. So from there, I just had to speak in one of their programs and say, wow, you guys are really saying something great, but I was scammed. I think this is what I was doing. I checked my HIG and everything. I wasn't able to get my money back. They were like, yeah, I said on ETH. They said, oh, wow, that's proof of stake. They just came up with a lot of things. Whatever information they give, I tried to go and learn again. So when they noticed how curious I was, they now said, I think Lama suggested in the group one, they said, this Nigerian guy that is always coming to the section, let's just give him a session to keep giving us update and then feedbacks on technical side of Bitcoin, and also give us real life updates from Nigeria as far as Bitcoin and crypto is concerned. So that particular responsibility shaped my life into taking everything about Bitcoin serious, and then that's what led to like the Bitcoin heritage that people now know, and the pre-Bitcoin, the pre-Bitcoin era of heritage that happens to be
Heritage.
the Heritage, like
Heritage.
Herry
Okay.
and G. So I'm always saying heritage of God, and my guys will either not want to call me that long name and say Heritage, yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting, because I didn't get into Bitcoin from the dev side.
Oh.
Like, I was a dev. I used to do JavaScript because I also studied computer science, I was doing all this React and whatnot, but I didn't have...
Wow, they were teaching you guys React?
No, at all.
Because my own time, they were not teaching us React. It was all this archaic programming languages like Fortran, Pascal,
same.
and all of that.
Same. It was about just us figuring it out ourselves, because I have a brother. We were in the same class. We were almost age mates, and we were in the same department. He was very passionate about programming. So I used to think, if you study computer science, you have to be a dev. Like, I was actually shamed by another brother that, this brother of mine is doing...
He looks more serious than you.
Not serious,
he's always into the technical side than yourself.
Like, no, we weren't taught this in school. This is just his passion. So I had to force myself to be a dev at a point. But I don't even like telling people I was a dev.
Wow.
But I was a dev, but, I just want to clear that misconception now that you brought it up about, if you study computer science or if you want to go into tech, you have to be a dev.
No,
so
I mean.
Even in the Bitcoin space, I noticed these issues, like people, making other roles feel very irrelevant. Yeah, only devs are important in the space.
Yeah, let me just speak a bit about that. One thing is, every role is actually very, very important. Not like dev are like the most important role. I always tell people, even as a dev, if you build and there's nobody to use what you build, then what you build is actually useless or obsolete, because it's not solving people's real-time problem. And now will you know what is solving people's real-time problem? You either experience the problem or interface with users, or get feedback, generic feedbacks from the market you'll be operating in. So people are going to be giving you those generic feedback. It's actually a particular discipline, that's their own job. So if their job is not important, their job is more like a prerequisite to your own job to be able to create an algorithm that works for a product you want to build. So if you underestimate those guys' job, then your own job will be irrelevant or incomplete, or also negligible and not useful to the market, because that means you've not done the right visibility study before even building a product, and then it will not be working in the market. Let's say you even build the product or you have a product as well. There's also another sector of marketing that comes in. You can have great product and people not know about the product, and they keep having the same problem that product already solves. So, every discipline, it's extremely, very, very important. And the mindset and misconception around devs are the only thing you should do is actually out of it. There's always roles like UI, UX. There's always roles like product development. There are roles around quality assurance. There are software testers. and a lot of other roles that aligns to make things work just the way a structure needs both the architect, the supervisor, the bricklayer, the carpenter, and lot of multiple units to actually make it work. Same applies to product. On your own side, you were saying stuff like, the fact that you don't like coding or you stopped coding at some point. People now make it feel like, if you study computer science and you don't code, then it's none of it. That was why I was asking about Fortran, Pascal, and all, because in school, I'm unapologetic about this. I wasn't taught JavaScript or C++ in school. I was only fortunate to meet a friend who already understands programming in school. And then I was in 100 level. I was like, why is this guy writing? I don't even know if he was writing Java. I was just like, why is this guy always writing something that looks like Arabic? And then they are not teaching us this yet now, but why are you doing it? We they study past this same course together. Mm-hmm. So it was not like they would teach us later. So the fact that I said they would teach us later, I said, what's the name? He told me. I immediately told my father, I said, Daddy, I'm enrolling for anything that relates to JavaScript, Java, or C in my next holiday. And I told my father, I was always intentional. I said, Dad, if I'm not enrolling for that, then I'm dropping out of this computer science course that I said I like, because they said this is the next thing for us and you want me to have breakthrough in this course. So I need to go and learn this. My father is a supportive person. He just said, okay, don't worry. So I think it was 2015, 2014. I paid about 120K to learn programming then.
Wow.
So it's very, very huge. Almost a price similar to my skill fees. So on studying it, I can tell you in the entire computer science department, it's not as if everybody's like a coder or something. There are guys who are like very good in networking. There are guys who are like very good in research analysis and all of that they are more like the creative guys. So I'm just trying to buttress your point and give more like an elaborate scenario of what the ecosystem really entails. For instance, in the Bitcoin ecosystem, you see there are educators, there are like circular economies, there are a lot of disciplines all around. Majority argue that no, we don't need developers. Some argue that we don't need educators. Some would say we want more dev meetups than just circular economy and all. I will always say collaborating and having all these respective fields work together collectively will skyrocket the ecosystem to achieve whatever they really want to achieve, rather than creating misconception or trying to like split things based on priorities or what they really want to achieve.
So I went on Nostr and I asked people, the Nostr community, to zap me 21 sats in a way to support my podcast, and then I will give you a shout out on my next episode. I did that in my previous episode, and this is the list of people that zapped me for this episode. So here goes the list. There's Eric FJ. Thank you, Eric. There's Mindogas of Bit Vocation again. Thank you, Mindogas. There is Nakojnu. Thank you, Nakojnu. There is Abu Mariam. Thank you, Abu Mariam. Then there is Nakojnu again. Thank you, Nakojnu. There is MBE. Thank you, MBE. There is Bitcoin TLDR. Thank you again for zapping me. There is AZA21M. Thank you, AZA21M. There is Nakojnu again. Thank you, Nakojnu, for zapping me 3 times. There is Anja of Bit Vocation. Thank you, Anja, for zapping me again. There is Strobe. Thank you, Strobe, for zapping me. Keep zapping. See you next time. I've had this conversation before where I was informed that there are too many Bitcoin educators out there in Africa, especially. Like everybody that wants to get into Bitcoin or everybody that learns Bitcoin also wants to open their own Bitcoin education platform. So I always shied away from it because I was thinking, okay, this place is saturated and whatnot. So recently, I went on TikTok and I made a video on Bitcoin talking about, okay, like how we are being very reluctant in Nigeria. We don't even know what is going on. And I did it in Hausa language because I noticed that a lot of content is not done in Hausa. And I'm like,
Yeah,
they are
that's
like,
true.
in Nigeria alone, we have like 80 million people speaking Hausa. And they don't even understand any other language. And I'm against the fact that we have to teach people English before they learn other things. I feel it's very difficult. That's not what is happening in China. That's not what is happening in Russia. And these countries are way, way, way ahead or at par with these Western countries that we think are superior. So I started doing the content in Hausa. I immediately said, oh, this, that about Bitcoin. The rush for education was crazy. I had to open a Telegram group. I have over 70 people now just from one video. In my group chat, you get. So if it's really that saturated, why do I have 70 people willing to learn? Like the messages have been crazy about
Halima, let me say it depends on people's perception or whatever they like understand. It takes me back to my point. If you are in a region, you will understand the region very well. So for instance, just in the space of 1 week, I've been to about 5 states in Nigeria just in the space of 1 week. When people just speak randomly, I tell them that in Africa, I try as much as possible to like go to a country, study the market, and then pick out things that can be worked on in terms of impact on people and neglect whatever statistics that people must have been moving around with. I work with the facts that you can pick on site. And the facts that you can pick on site is that there's a lot of misconception about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in developing countries in Africa. And when you take a look at why are you even trying to go for this particular niche, if you are going for Bitcoin education for basically to make profit, then I will tell you that you won't be sustainable. You'll get tired and leave.
Absolutely.
I try to learn multiple languages just because I want to engage with people and then be able to impact them. Even the Hausa, a lot of people speak Hausa. I'm a Yoruba person, but I still, hey, Yane, Banji, then so say Kadan Kadani. I'll be like, oh wow, Akwe Hausa. I'll be like, Kadan Kada. So just try to I communicate with you. If you speak, I can understand, but I'm not like a fluent speaker. That's that on the language side. But looking at Bitcoin, imagine being able to translate all the contents that are available to all these languages. That means you've been able to first break the barriers around people who would be understanding these stuff. It now takes us back to the fact that education is important, but it will be less important for folks who are profit driven. So if you are profit driven, Bitcoin education is not for you because you can't make money by trying to teach people what they don't even know that they don't know right from time. There's this concept of philosophy of knowing. If you know and you know that you don't know, all these philosophies, you'll see that what people don't know at all, you can't try to get money from them to teach them. It will look like you are trying to scam them. So you have to be plain, give them a clear information and then let them make their choice. And now see that, okay, there's already a solution for the problem they are facing, and they will decide if they're actually going for that solution or they will still wait with that problem. So someone like myself, Bitcoin education for me is more like a way of giving back to the community with all our businesses, and we do other things that makes us extremely profitable, like the cross-border remittance aspect, the what product development aspect, and couple of stuff like the mining aspect, the content writing aspect, and then the consulting aspect. So I feel it just depends on your approach and what you are really going for. If Bitcoin education is for profit for you, then you miss the point. But if it's just for giving back to the community and expecting nothing back, while making sure you focus on your major skill set, like on whatever business you are doing before, then it's a good thing. You can be a pepper seller and also be an educator. How can you be an educator? You still keep selling your pepper, but then within the range of selling your pepper, you start accepting Bitcoin as payment, and you keep encouraging people why you accept that particular payment. So you are indirectly educating them while still focusing on your own business. So I think that's the best way to like have the two work together and then keep things moving while making educators profitable and making business people thrive.
I agree, because even for me, even this podcast is Bitcoin education in a way. And assuming I had no prior business, I wouldn't even be able to afford to run this podcast.
Yeah. I mean, podcasts, a lot of stuff like this are capital intensive. I can relate.
Yeah, they are really capital intensive. So don't stop what you are doing. It's fine. And I'm always promoting you can do other things and also be a Bitcoiner. You just don't have to be a Bitcoiner alone. Like, people get that misconception. It's not like being a banker or being something. You can be anything. You can be a plumber and be a Bitcoiner. You can be a mechanic and be a Bitcoiner. You can be an Okada man and be a Bitcoiner.
Exactly.
Bitcoin is for everyone.
Exactly.
So which leads me to my next question. You consult individuals, corporate clients, and even institutional investors. What's the biggest misconception you find yourself correcting over and over again about Bitcoin?
Yeah, I think what I find correcting over and over again about Bitcoin, specifically when speaking with guys from the traditional banking industry, is the fact that they always believe that the technology itself, it's more like an adulterated technology in the sense that it's not controlled. So their own understanding of a perfect finance system is a controlled finance system. And I will tell you that the greatest enemy of Bitcoin is ignorance. These guys have their 9 to 5 job. They must have probably done PhD, have a whole lot of experience in finance and all of that. But if you definitely doesn't have experience in decentralized finance, if you don't have experience in Bitcoin consensus mechanism, or how like that particular technology work, then you won't have experience on how it's more better than the traditional finance system you are in. So when meeting those level of clients or those level of companies or individuals, what we try to do at most is we try to make them understand that the structures around what you guys called control, for instance, the KYC processes in traditional banking, the AML processes in traditional banking, still doesn't get rid of money laundering from being happening in the system. But in Bitcoin makes it more transparent in the sense that even the money laundering processes, the illicit acts that goes through money as a factor of human greed, can still be transparently traced and monitored on the network, even more efficient than what it is in the traditional finance system. So a whole lot of misconceptions that we tend to like meet mostly when we are like relating with such individuals, inability to understand how the technology works, and they just have a more like a popular concept of, oh, this is meant for like the young folks, this is meant for guys who are like trying to boycott the well legal finance system, this is meant for guys who are like trying to take away the liquidity from the central banking system, whereas it's not. It's more like this is meant for the world, this is meant to like correct the cracks in traditional finance system. Cracks like capital controls, cracks like self-inflicted inflations, cracks like what's it called? Um, Cracks like censorship, just based on favoritism. That's how I'm going to put it. Cracks around that in the traditional finance system. Those are what Bitcoin is solving. Cracks around infinite supply of money, consistent printing. Um, Cracks like that is what Bitcoin is trying to offer solution to, because it has fixed supply, it has transparent monetary system, it gets rid of capital control, it makes sure everybody has to work to actually earn money. It makes people more accountable. For instance, governments of El Salvador and a whole lot of governments, once you have your unit of account transparent enough, the government can everyone, not even the government alone, the citizens can easily know where the money is being spent on and all of that. But a whole lot of issues is just more understanding the technology world, creating a system that enables this traditional finance and corporate individuals get in sync with the technology and see it more of a solution rather than a competition to what they have right now. And conclusively to your question, I would say Bitcoin is not even competing with the traditional finance system. It's correcting what they have right now, and it's not more like, oh, we will let it to correct it or not. It's just a matter of time. Posterity and then efficiency will outpace the traditional finance system, just like telecommunication end up outpacing writing letters and all of that. So those are just the approach we'll see in our finance.
I think just this morning I saw this video on LinkedIn. Now that you spoke about, censorship, control, and whatnot, it was just a short movie depicting how the future will be if we adopt like the central bank digital currencies. I think it was the lady that woke up, ill on her way to the hospital. She oversped and passed the speed limit immediately. She was charged, she was being monitored. Immediately she went to the hospital, they charged the doctor for not paying his taxes on time, and they withdrew his license. The doctor was asking her to eat more red meat because she lacks a particular nutrient in her body. She went to buy the red meat in the supermarket, and then they said she has passed her limit of eating red meat in a month.
The ratings of all those things are now very, very documented, more technical in such a way that the world is
everything will be monitored. Bitcoin is now our only savior at this point, because eventually it will happen. We can see it happening. There's no longer freedom of speech on social media, even in real life. And I'm not excluding any country out of this. The United States, Nigeria, the United Kingdom.
Beat charts now, anyways. I don't mean to do free adverts for Jack Dorsey beat charts, but then free adverts or not, platforms that enables let's say censorship resistant kind of communication, Nostri and all of that, and then just making sure you can communicate without restrictions and all of that. So I think the technology will just outpace things and create solutions as we keep progressing.
Many Africans still see Bitcoin as a get-rich-quick scheme. How do you shift that mindset towards seeing it as sound money?
For me?
Yeah.
For me, I don't see Bitcoin as a get-quick-rich scheme. And helping someone who probably see it from that perspective will be something difficult, because I believe everyone will get to understand Bitcoin at the time they deserve it. What do I mean by that? Some set of people you might try as much as possible to get them acquainted with something, but they might want to prefer to learn based on experience. So I practically do engage people and just be like, oh, this is what Bitcoin is, come and learn, come and do this and all of that. No, I'm just going to engage you based on what you prefer most. If you are more like an hip hop artist and all of that, and you probably use platform like Spotify and all, I'm going to be like, oh, bro, you are already posting your music on Spotify. What if you have a platform you can post your music, just the way you get content creators revenue on Spotify, you're also getting creators revenue on those platforms, and then the creators revenue is coming in Bitcoin. How will you feel? The guy will be like, oh, wow, really? Yo, man, let me see that platform. You will probably give him a platform like Fontaine podcast, and then he's going to be like, oh, cool. So I can upload things here and then keep getting incentive in sats. No matter how small that particular sat is, that person has probably interfaced with Bitcoin in a way that is now going to keep thinking of the incentive I'm getting for putting out my music that is coming in Bitcoin. How will I convert it to my local currency, or how am I going to save it, or what am I going to do with it? Whatever is going to do with it, or whatever question that particular action led him to, will be his own way of getting himself acquainted with Bitcoin or interfacing with the technology. That's just an illustration of someone who is like a rapper or a musician. So if I'm meeting someone who is like a business person, I think the approach I'm going to be giving the person is, oh, mama, shebi you dey stay for this location now. You suppose put this your location for map, or make people come dey buy things from you. I'm speaking Nigeria pidgin now. Apologies for guys who don't understand that particular language. So this is me seeing an old woman and telling the woman to like, oh, you are selling something. What if you put this your business on a map that enables more people to come and buy from you, just because you are accepting a kind of additional kind of payment, and that woman tries doing it, and then boom. Or someone who is an Uber driver, and then instead of you paying him in naira, you have options to pay him in Bitcoin. I did same thing for some guys in Kenya through some applications that work in that region. I paid them with Bitcoin, and the guy was like, so now Bitcoin you dey use pay, bro. Tell me this app, make I start to dey use am. Like he was speaking Swahili, say, Karibu. I was like, oh, Ikosawa. I say, like, it's okay. Like, I'm going to show you the app and all. Say, he was so happy to see me. Welcome. So those are like just my perspective. Relate with people based on what their lifestyle is, and let them grow along with it as far as Bitcoin is concerned. So the misconception around it being a scam or get rich quick scheme, I don't think is generic to like Africans. It's just more like Africans have a pretty much of poor populations who live below, let's say, $1 or $3 per day. So the mindset of those people is always like, how do I want to make money and all? And that mindset even is very, very dangerous because it exposes them to more scam. So I feel that's why clear education is important, and the best way to like educate people is to meet them in a way that aligns with their own existing lifestyle.
I agree because this issue of I spoke about it in my previous episode. People are hungry. How do I go? Yes, like how do I go about saying invest when all you are looking for is what to
is
eat?
To survive.
Yes. Like I find it really difficult educating people like that, and those are the people that even need Bitcoin the most.
Yeah.
But that's a story for another day. If you had to give one piece of advice to someone in Africa buying Bitcoin for the first time today, what would it be?
Um, I would definitely tell the person, not your keys, not your coins. Why I'm deciding to give that particular advice is I'm just going to look at the risk the person might tend to be exposed to and the sweat this person must have probably put in place to acquire that Bitcoin. So imagine a first timer buying Bitcoin and is buying it on Bybit and is buying it on Binance. I mean, you are buying it on platforms that are like acting as a marketplace to hold your coin for you. That's ridiculous. The most important thing is ownership, which is what Bitcoin gives you. So if you are buying your Bitcoin or it's your first purchase, the most important advice I'm giving you is own the coin on the platform that gives you your seed phrases. Those are like the 12 words or 24 words, the platforms that gives you those things. Because if you don't have those seed phrases, then the coin you bought is not yours. The coin you bought is for the platform because those platforms you bought it on might give you username, password, and everything. Once that platform, probably the CEO decides to run away or say it's not working again, like FTX and others, then your coin is gone. But let's say the CEO decides to walk away and say it's not doing or anything happens to him, with your seed phrases, the coin is yours. You can go to any other existing platform, type in your seed phrases, and then you have your coin. So the most important advice for newbies is not your keys, not your coins. And I think I will just give them a add-on. The add-on is to like make them acquire Bitcoin faster or like incentivize for Bitcoin. Don't wait to buy Bitcoin and wait.
Heritage, you are a computer scientist by training and a strategist by practice. Looking 10 years ahead, what's your bold prediction for the future of money in Africa?
Yeah, I think the adoption rate for the future of money in Africa is increasing skyrocketingly with Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya taking the lead. I feel these young populations in Africa will actually make decisive change in making sure the restrictions around our borders in terms of making payment across different countries in Africa would have been reduced if not non-existent again. And then we have a borderless Africa financially. We have an Africa where someone from Nigeria can easily send money to someone from Kenya, and someone from South Africa can easily receive money from someone in Malawi. So I think that's what the future of money will look like in Africa: a borderless Africa, a free Africa, and Africa that is inclusive, that is financially inclusive. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Heritage. This brings us to the end of this episode. I'm Halima, and this is What is Haute.
Thank you.